vibrato is a really special thing that's very unique to each musician, each violinist. There are a lot of ways to do vibrato and a lot of ways to teach it. But in the end, it's a very personal decision of what you want your vibrato to sound like. The way I teach it is that you really need a few preliminary things. You need 3 things really to be set before you start learning vibrato. You need to have a good handle of intonation with your left hand. Whatever you play, it has to be in tune. Next, you really need to have this really nice sustained legato. You have to be able to get into the string and excite the string and play a little close to the bridge. If you get over in the danger zones of the bow, too far over or even too close, you're not going to have a good vibrato. And if you aren't able to sustain the sound, if it's warbly of any kind, it's going to distort your sound. So you really need those things before you start. And then I really want my students to start shifting, so they're able to find pitches out of the usual position. So they're really anchoring with their fingers. You really have to anchor with your fingertips and your thumb as a guide wherever you are on the fingerboard and really find the intonation that way. The next stage is that you need this fingertip contact. You need to have, I'll sort of move over this way. You need to have your fingertips really be the guides. You need the fingers to touch on the meat of the fingertips there. They can't be so far on the nail that they're going to distort, otherwise they're not going to have a good swing. They can't be flat. And they also can't be stiff. You have to have this loose control. Okay? When you have these this fingertip action really nice and down, you need to be able to relax your hand and slide on the fingerboard, and then even put your finger down and move away from the side of the violin neck. You need to be able to have that action. When I do vibrato, I'm over here. I'm not even touching it. Okay? A lot of my training was in keeping my thumb stable, but I've actually found that when I do vibrato rather intensely, I drop the instrument down into the second joint a little bit here. It's never touching over here. It's never so far down that I lose flexibility with my fingers. But I do find that this is a good control for me, so I can actually kind of support the instrument a little bit. It's a little controversial, but I find that I get a much better sustain that way than if I just let my hand hang. I have more control that way. So that's the way that I play. That's the way that I teach. Not everybody does that. So when you have your control, practice rotating a little bit away from the neck here. See how my elbow is moving sort of towards my center line here? You want to be able to get that too. There are 2 types of vibratos that are talked about. That's wrist vibrato and arm vibrato. In the end, I really do both of them. I use the wrist vibrato to start the swing, and I actually use my arm to make it more intense, or to sort of constrict it a little bit and make it less intense too. But you can see that the whole arm is moving, not just the wrist. I'm not just keeping this totally still. Everything is moving, so I have this a good relaxation in my playing too. So to start with wrist vibrato, I think it's really good to get a shaker. I have an egg shaker here. You can also use a pill bottle, actually, if you have it. Like here's some fake Zyrtec. And basically, where your violin sits in your body, that's on your left side, you're going to put your hand up, grab it gently, and just try to get a nice even swing there. I'll use the egg so you can hear the difference there. I'm imagining that I'm like knocking on a door here. So I can do this. I can go knock, 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 stop. Knock, 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 stop. Knock, 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 stop. And you can see I'm aiming the knock out first. That's actually going to translate over to the instrument too, because I think that vibrato should have the true pitch as the top part of your oscillation. And go lower. Too much higher, and you start registering a different pitch. So I actually teach going away first. The next stage is coming to the instrument and starting actually to swing your vibrato. So I like to start with either second or third finger. Right now I'm going to start with second finger, and I'm actually going to start in third position. My hand is a little bit closer. I've heard of people starting in fourth position because it's very close to the edge of the fingerboard. You can get this tapping motion down, which is also very useful. But right now I think it's okay. If you have a good finger support, you can start pretty much anywhere. So I'm going to start in third position here. I'm going to activate my legato and my ringing tone. And I'm really going to find that note and keep my finger glued to that spot. Next, I'm going to relax everything except for the very tip of the finger, and I'm going to sort of pull away from it. You can see that I'm using my arm to do this one. Later I'll use my wrist. But right now I'm just going to find that finger like almost like a caterpillar, sort of climbing or wiggling on the string there. So I can put it into action like this. Okay, that's basically how I'm going to start. Now I can do that with the wrist too, the same shaking motion. It's basically the same thing. When I use vibrato in my real playing, I'm trying to get almost like you could describe it as a shimmer, a shimmery sound. I don't want it to be too wide. I think that sound, it's too old-fashioned. It's this kind of this old sound. I want my vibrato to be a little bit tighter. So it has that nice shimmer that sort of carries the sound over. And then it can be a really nice effect. Regardless of where you are with your vibrato, you should be able to sort of pour it from finger to finger. It of course doesn't go exactly unstopped, but you should be able to basically not have your arm or your hand stop during the vibrato swing. So doing that is really useful to have those shakers. Just be able to get it really natural and loose so you find that point of balance. And the point of balance of your hand enables you to go back and forth very evenly. A little note, I think each finger has its own vibrato swing. My second and third fingers are very lush. First finger's a little bit tighter. And fourth finger's weak. It doesn't have a very big swing, and that's because it's a smaller finger, it has less meat on it, and is shorter, and mine is especially shorter, it doesn't have the flexibility that my other fingers do. So I save my fourth finger for special moments with vibrato, and I really don't use it that much in lyrical passages. I hope this has been a little bit helpful if you're trying to learn some vibrato, and good luck and happy playing.